And I like to share this picture because this is my favorite place on earth. I know Tijuana is not famous for having the most the cleanest beach or the prettiest of beaches, but for some reason, this is my favorite place. This is my favorite beach because it reminds me every single day of the mission that I've been pursuing for the past 11 years, and is to share what are the impacts that we are causing with our ways of consumption and our ways of purchasing things and living in general. There are certain ideas that we sometimes see certain efforts that our countries or governments do in order to protect the planet, and we are like, okay, we're in an advanced country because we do this and do that, and we recycle a lot. Yeah, but we also consume a lot. And we don't usually tend to see that other side of the, let's say, that other side of the coin. So what happens? Ever since I was a little kid, my parents usually told my brother and I, like, hey guys, what do you want to do for the weekend? And for some reason, the ocean always kept calling to me. Like, I always wanted to be near the ocean, and not just in the sand. I wanted to see what was behind those waves, what was below that water, what was that aquatic world that it's down there. So every single time that I could, I raised my hand and said, I want to go to the beach. And what happens? I remember I always seen it like in TV, like in movies. What happens when a group of people went to the beach? You get this beautiful scene of people getting into a van, coming into the beach. The sun was beautiful, the water looks beautiful, everybody's running into the sand, getting into the water, kicking the water, playing. Everything is happiness and joy and glory, and I don't know. But the one time I did that, I remember I got to the beach, I run to the water. The sun wasn't like as bright as I used to see it in the movies. And I got to the water, and like my whole bubble of fantasy like just popped in a question of a little piece of a second. Why? Because our water is cold. It's extremely cold. I don't know if you've been into Tijuana waters or even, San Diego waters, something like that, but it's extremely cold. We don't have like this really enjoyable beach because we don't have warmth waters. We have very, very cold waters. And me, as a little kid, I was very, how you say it, like cold. I wasn't that much of a friend with cold things, cold weather, cold water. So I couldn't enjoy this place. So I made myself like the mission. I give myself the mission to learn to enjoy this place because by some reason I wanted to be there, but I couldn't like enjoy the water and the beach and the waves and all of those things. So I remember setting myself with certain goals. Like, okay, my first goal is to go to the beach and be able to handle the cold of having the water all the way to my ankles. And that was it. So I want you to imagine me probably, I don't know, if I was like 8, 9, or 10 years old. Little round, skinny guy in the water with his Speedos, like dying of coldness. And my parents are always like, hey, Abraham, how you doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm doing great, but I'm dying because of this cold water. But I went to my home with this sensation of achieving this goal of being able to withstand the cold of having the water all the way to my ankles. The next goal was the knees. So a few weeks later, I went back to the beach. I did this whole thing again, getting inside of the water, making the water come all the way to my knees. Again, this little kid with his Speedos, dying of cold, skinny guy. And my parents were like, hey, Abraham, how you doing? Great. I wasn't doing great. I was just achieving my goal, let's say, and hoping that one day I could go into the water and just live there, like be there and enjoy it. And weeks went by, and there comes this one day in which this is the real deal. I could think that everybody here has ever gone to a pool. And what's the process of getting inside a pool? Like, you touch the water with your little toes, and you get the feet inside of the water, your ankles, your knees, and you're like, okay, the water is cool. But there comes a moment in which water comes to your waist, and something happens with the human body that whenever the water crosses this line, like you paralyze, you take a huge gasp of air, and I don't know, like your stomach touches your back. I don't know what happens, but everybody like loses their minds whenever that happens if you do it slowly. So that's why a lot of people just tend to decide, okay, I'll jump, and that's it, okay? So for me, that was a process. I went to the beach. I do this whole thing. And yeah, I was dying. Like my ribs like were all marked because of my stomach was all inside. But yeah, I mean, I think I achieved that goal. And I mean, years went by. The point that I want to make is that at the end of the day, I learned how to enjoy this place. Today, I love to go to the beach to swim, to surf, to snorkel, to simply have a walk or have a run in that place. And it's a place that I've always encouraged people to learn how to enjoy themselves being there because connection is important. You don't tend to take care of places if you don't love them. And that's the main thing, that people doesn't have developed this connection to these places, and that's why we haven't taken care of them. So what happened, years went by, and I started noticing certain things like, oh, like this. This was the first time I saw something that didn't belong into that place. And I was like, this is not right. This can shouldn't be here. And I started noticing some things, not just in the water, but also in the sand. And I don't know if you can tell what is it that is there in the picture. What are those little white things? Exactly, foam. I mean, yeah, plastic, but more precisely, foam, styrofoam. So styrofoam is a big issue because the styrofoam, like it breaks down like pretty quickly, and it's a mess to pick it up. But I remember seeing these things, and for me, it was weird. It was like, why is this happening? Why is these items or these things here? And as the years went by, I started noticing and learning stuff about what's happening to the ocean. We all know what is this? Coral reef, exactly. And what happens, you all are familiar with the term climate change, right? We have all heard about what climate change does, and we all have seen the pictures of forests burning, of droughts, of people losing their crops, of people with health issues because of all of these like effects of climate change. But what is happening to the ocean? That's one, yeah. So what I learned is that corals, number one, what is a coral? A lot of people tend to see it as a rock with full of colors, and that, I don't know, a rock that for some reason animals like to swim around it. No, corals are like marine cities. And literally, if you are seeing like orange fishes and yellow and green and blue, every single one of these small, very small animals have their purpose within the coral. There are fishes that their job is to clean the coral. There are fishes that their job is to eat the bacteria that eats the coral. There are fishes that their job is to redirect the growth of the coral. So there are a lot of reasons for these things to exist. But what happens with climate change, places that should look as colorful and as full of life as this, nowadays they look like this. Because of the warmth of the water, the rising temperatures of the water. Corals can't stand this change of temperature. I started noticing other things. Can you tell what the animals are? Exactly, sharks. And what happens, my entire life, everybody has taught me the sharks are bad. Sharks are like the evil guy in the movies. Sharks are this killer species that are going to eat you if they ever see you. No, guys, sharks aren't bad. Sharks aren't the villain. They might be a little bit ugly, yeah, but they're not bad. They're not the villains. What happens is that places that should look as full of life like this nowadays look like this because something called ghost nets, because a problem called overfishing. Now, who here likes to eat marine food, like mariscos, those type of things? Okay, it's not as a popular response as in Mexico. Mexico, everybody loves it. But what happens? Every single day, lots of ships go into the ocean to fish, and they throw, let's say, 50 nets. At the end of the day, the captain says, "Okay, let's pick up all of the nets. How many did you pick?" "I don't know. 35. Where are the rest of them?" "I don't know. We lost them. We don't found them." Have you ever seen these videos of big ships in the ocean with this really strong storms, and that the boat is like moving from one side to the other. In those storms, a lot of boats lose fishing gear. And this is what happens. And you probably guess, like, how did the shark get entangled with the net? Okay, it's very simple. These nets in the open ocean, in the open waters, aren't as visible to the animals as you would think. Has ever somebody, like, you have ever been like just walking and you couldn't see it and you just found yourself with a spider web and you like have it, I don't know, in your head, in your hand, whatever, in whatever place you like to think. But this is something that everybody has gone through. And I'm not telling you like, oh, how silly, you didn't look. No, it's simply something that we don't perceive as a first instance. So that's what happens with marine animals. They don't see these nets and they just get entangled with them. And we can be all in the same agreement that sea lions and dolphins and whales and turtles, there are marine animals, but do we agree that they have to come to the surface to take fresh air from now and then? What happens if they get entangled with these nets? Exactly, they can't breathe and they'll drown. And then there are other things. Does somebody ever at a restaurant has looked in their menu something called shark fin soup? Some of you have, some of you don't. Okay, what happens? They fish the sharks, they cut off their fins, and they throw them back to the ocean alive. So these sharks ended up dying because of blood. Yeah, you get the idea. So a lot of places also, this is a consequence, but a lot of places look like this because of that. Because of a dish of no more than 20 bucks. So this whole idea is that we have a better understanding of the consequences of what we are consuming. We usually tend to consume, not wondering what's behind that thing that we're consuming. What are the impacts of us consuming this? And we are a very, very consumery hungry population. I don't know if that was well said, but you get the idea. So what happened after that, after me learning all of this, I was kind of stressed because I didn't know what I could do. I'm not going to dive in the middle of the ocean and take those nets out of the water. I'm not going to fight against a humongous boat to stop fishing these sharks. So for me, that was really stressful. I didn't know what I can do about it. But then I found myself with a video that showed me something new, something I didn't have faced in earlier years. And it gave me the idea that I could do something about it. So I'm going to show you this video, and after that, we're going to continue the conversation. Can you help me with the play button, please? Okay, so what can you guys tell me about the video? What did you notice? That way? Yep. That's fine, that's fine. We can leave it there. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, somebody else? Yeah. That way? Yeah, exactly. What articles can you notice specifically? Bottle caps, okay. Something else? Lighters? There was even a sandal in one of them, right? So what happens? This I don't know if you saw at the beginning of the video. It says that this was recorded in an island called Midway. It's an island that it's more than 2,000 miles away of any other coast. So what's the main problem here? This is not a place in which people can go and have like a picnic and leave their trash there. It's not a place in which people can go and actually throw their trash there. So here's the two main questions that people ask us whenever they see the video. Number one, why are the birds eating the plastic? And number two, how is it that all of that trash ended up there? So to answer the first one, what happens? These birds are called albatross. They're migratory birds, and they go to this particular island every single year to put their eggs, to take care of them, to take care of their little birds, and wait to the day that these birds can start like their adult life, let's say independent life on their own. But what's the problem? Like, okay, every single day, let's say dad bird stays with the little bird and takes care of him, and mom bird goes all the way to the ocean to pick up some food. Now, have you ever noticed how marine birds fish? What do? They fly, they found their prey, and just like go straight down. They dive into the ocean and they pick it. So this place is so full of plastic, so full of trash, that during that process of actually grabbing its food, a lot of these plastic pieces they get into the bird's mouth, the bird's beak, and wind up in their stomach. Now that little thing that you saw the two birds do with their beaks, this what happened. That's the way of the birds giving their food to their little birds. And I mean, the idea is that to give food to your bird, and hopefully with the idea that it's going to grow strong to become an adult and continue with its life. But what you're not realizing is that you're actually feeding him plastic, and that the end result in a matter of days or weeks or even months probably it's going to be this. You're actually killing your baby, and that's the most sad. That's the saddest part of it all. These birds don't know that they're actually doing that. So how is it that all of this plastic wind up here? Okay, so this is how I want to actually introduce the subject, like plastic pollution. I don't know if anybody here can tell me why a turtle would have a plastic bag like tangled within its neck. Okay, exactly. So plastic bags are easily I lost the word. Okay, so plastic bags can look like jellyfishes, okay? And jellyfishes are actually one of the favorite meals of turtles. So the turtles, watching a plastic bag just floating in the ocean, would think that it's a jellyfish, and they would go to eat it. We only need one plastic bag to kill a turtle. Such an amazing species that has surpassed a lot of obstacles within its life, like turtles born in the beach. And the first thing that turtles have to avoid is to be prey of crabs, of alligators, even people that would steal those eggs, or even the small turtles will be stolen by people. Now imagine that even though they surpass all of those barriers, you put a plastic barrier in front of them. Now they surpass even that obstacle. They get into the ocean. Once the turtle gets into the ocean, they'll spend the first 2 years of their life alone in the ocean. They won't get out of there until 2 years of age. And what happens, even being in the ocean, it's not like, okay, you made it. You need to avoid being prey of other marine animals. Now imagine that they overcome all of those barriers, all of those difficulties that they have to overcome within their lives, and then you put a plastic bag, and you kill them with a plastic bag. It's not fair. And a lot of these turtles can be all the way up to 80 years old, and you kill them with a plastic bag. So returning to the first point, how is it that this trash and plastic gets into this place? Okay, here I want to introduce you to the gyres. Now the gyres are the 5 biggest ocean currents that exist in our planet. The island Midway is within the Pacific Ocean. It's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We do know which one is the Pacific Ocean, right? Which one? Okay, exactly, this one in the middle. So the island is just right there in the middle of that place. So basically, all of the trash that can get to the ocean from this coast of Mexico, United States, Canada, Alaska, Alaska, yeah, China, Japan, will basically get into this current, and it'll concentrate all of that trash into one spot that is really near to this island. Now, in the video, we saw small things like plastic caps, like lighters, like small pieces of foam in plastic. But if you want to get like a better understanding or idea of how this place looks, I'll show you this image. Now, here you can notice we're not talking just about small things. We're talking about big water gallons and detergents and chairs, plastic chairs and furniture, and a lot of things. That the most probable thing is that every single one of the people in this group have used before. We've all used these type of items before with the minimum of idea of what is going to happen to those bottles and those things after we throw them to the trash. Something happens within our brain that whenever we throw something to the trash bin, we totally disconnect from that piece of trash. We never wonder, what happened to that? What happened to that bottle, to that package, to that, I don't know, whatever thing throw there? We never wonder that. And that's the problem, that we don't have like a better understanding of what happens to trash after we throw it out. So important things that we need to learn about plastic whenever we talk about it, it's this. Plastics are not biodegradable, they're photodegradable. Or well, in theory, everything is biodegradable. The thing is that the plastic that takes the least amount of time to biodegrade takes more than 100 years. So here's when we stop thinking about plastic biodegrading and we focused more on the photodegradable aspect of it. Now, I don't know if somebody here knows what photodegradation is or what you understand about this word. What does the first part, the photo part, tells you? Okay, it has to do with light. Yeah, pictures have to do with light. Okay, the basic idea here is, I don't know if any of you have gone to, let's say, a hiking spot or to the beach and you've found like a plastic package of something just there like lying, and you try to grab it and it'll break in your hands. Or some of you have ever, like, I don't know, just leave a plastic bottle in a car. A week or 2 weeks go by, and what starts to happen to this bottle, it starts to losing like the transparency, right? It starts to get like wrinkly, let's say. So these are the first stages of photodegradation. Basically what happens is that when plastic is in continuous contact with the sunlight, it'll start to it'll start to break down. It'll start to turn into small pieces like the ones that you see in the photo. And this, whenever it rains or whenever we have strong winds, all of this trash, it's easier for it to start moving. So here's when we say, it doesn't matter if you throw the trash directly into the beach, outside of the school, or at the furthest mountain you can find. That piece of trash is going to photodegrade, and with rains and winds, it's going to start moving through the watersheds, and at the end of the day, it's going to end up in the ocean, mixing with the food of the ocean animals, and it'll happen what happened in the video. Now we have this other thing. How do you call these? Yeah, but plastic utensils, but they are disposable plastics, right? How much time do you would you think that you would use one of these before you throw it to the trash? An hour if it's like a good scenario. How many times have we used some of these 5, 10 minutes, even 20? How many times have we gone to a reunion, a party, I don't know, you try to grab a fork, by some reason you lose it, it goes to the ground, and oh, I'll need another one, and that's it. Do you know everything that has to go through for us to have these items within our reach? We understand that plastic comes from oil, right? So let's be all in the same channel when we talk about this. Okay, so big industries have to go and find like an oil, how do you call it, like oil, yeah, that. So what happens, they need to to chop the trees. They need to destroy basically that habitat. A lot of animals die within the process. They need to take that oil, take it to the factories, made process, will throw certain liquids, emit certain gases. Then comes all the process of transportation from the fabric to the warehouses, from the warehouses, majorities, from majorities to the minorities, and then to the small stores where you go buy these things, use them for 5, 10, 20 minutes, throw them, then it'll photodegrade, mix with the food of the animal, and then the animals will die out of it. So I would like you to picture this whole process that we just mentioned and think how much of this whole process article was actually useful. A really, really tiny minimum part of it. Now the question here is, do you consider this to be actually a really need for us to be used? Or is it something that we can actually substitute fairly easily? Knowing that, do you think that you will continue consuming this, or is it viable for us to keep consuming these types of things, considering the whole process that needs to be done for us to have them? I would like you to think of the last plastic straw that you use. Please picture it. Just remember, I don't know if you use it at home, when you went to the movie theater, I don't know. I would like you to know that that plastic straw or that plastic bag or that plastic utensil that you had, it'll be in this planet more time than you do. When would you ever think that a plastic straw would outlive you? And these are things that we never think about it. We just see them as items and trash, and that's it. And it's not going to be like they're just still not doing anything. No, it's going to be from animal stomach, from animal stomach, from animal stomach to animal stomach for more than 100 years. Imagine that. I don't know if anybody here knows how many years does the plastic industry has been existing. Somebody said 300. Somebody thinks more, somebody thinks less. Give me a number. 35? Maybe 100, 75? Who gives more, who gives less? 80 years. Okay. You're actually close, and then you're actually right. The plastic industry has about 80 years. It started, ironically, it started as an environmental problem solver, because a lot of years ago, the balls that we use for the pool tables, they're called. They were made out of the, sorry, my English is not perfect, but I'm trying to remember certain words. The material that you take from the horns from rhinoceros and elephants, it was made out of that material. Ivory, thank you very much. It was made out of that. So humans, I don't know which scientist one day thought that we should invent something that wouldn't need. Hello? Yeah. Okay, so they thought that we should invent a new material, something that it from nature. Okay. Thank you. Hello? Okay, yeah. Okay, you get the idea. We need to invent a new material. So that's how the first investigations on plastics started. The investigation didn't land into anything. It would just like be forgotten. World War II came, and as a lot of innovations come through war, plastics wasn't like the exemption. They needed to find like a cheaper material, more durable, more malleable, and they took the investigations that these scientists have done on plastics, and they retook it and they create the first polymers. And we started doing the the first articles of plastics. So a lot of the gadgets that soldiers had during the war were made out of plastics because they needed to be cheaper and durable. And years later, we started having the first articles to the public that were actually the hula hula and the just a ball, a play ball. Those were actually the very first things that were made out of plastic. But what happens next? If the industry of plastics has barely 80 years, and I told you that the minimum piece of plastic that it takes to biodegrade has a minimum of more 100 years, what did this mean? That not even the very first piece of plastic that was ever made, it still need like a more 20 or 30 more years to start to actually biodegrade. So I would actually like to for you to think, how many plastic utensils have you used? Plates, cups, packages, boxes. I would like you to multiply that by the amount of people that we're right here right now. I would like you to multiply that for the amount of people that work and study here in this school. I would like you to multiply that for the amount of people that live in Calexico, and realize that Calexico is just one very small spot in the entire planet. Now yeah, exactly, I start seeing like 2 or 3 stressed faces. My idea is not to stress you, or well, yeah, a little bit, but what I want you to imagine is that we are consuming and generating trash and plastic in formidable amounts. Like for real, it's a lot of trash and a lot of plastic that we are generating because we are consuming it with the slightest idea of what's happening out there. Now, let's stop talking about like the bad things and bad news. I think that at this point, we all know that's a problem regarding plastics, right? What are the solutions? At the beginning, I asked you about recycling. Yola told me that recycling was good, and I actually told you that it could be bad. It could be the worst thing that you could do. Why? Because actually recycling, having the idea that you're helping the environment by recycling, it will only get you to consume more because it's recyclable. I don't know if you get the idea. So you give me a plastic bottle, and you tell me that this is recyclable. I think that because I'm consuming this recyclable bottle, I can still consume more things because it's recyclable. But what you're not getting is that by consuming more things, you are multiplying this industrial process that I talked to you about. The idea is to stop making these industrial processes again and again and again and again. So recycling, it's good if you apply it correctly. Recycling has its place, has its time, it has its way to be done. But it's not like recycling is going to take us to save the planet and just solve this whole issue. We need to learn how to buy things and how to consume better. So here what it says is the objective is not about recycling more, but to create less trash. And how do you create less trash? There are a lot of bloggers out there. There are a lot of Instagrammers and YouTubers that talk about this. A lot of habits, the change of habits in our ways of consumption. These are just the three most basic things that you can change. Stop consuming plastic water bottle and start using your reusable bottle. That's it. Because that reusable bottle is going to be with you, what, a full year, 2 years, even more if you take care of it. And these plastic disposable bottles are going to be there like 1 day, 1 week, 1 month probably. And I don't know anybody who has actually stayed with the same bottle 1 month. So I want you to picture this. If I consume 1 plastic bottle each day, those are 7 bottles a week, right? 14 in 2 weeks, 21 in 3 weeks. And multiply that by 1 year or 2 years, I don't know. But what if I use this reusable bottle? I won't be generating any more trash. What about bags? A lot of, I know that here in the United States, in a lot of places, bags are banned. Is that correctly said? Okay, yeah. You have the plastic bag ban. But still, a lot of other places, they give you plastic bags. And a lot of other items will require you to use plastic bags. So the idea here is start using things that are reusable, that have longer lifespans. Actually, the one thing that you can do today is that when you get back to home, I would like you to ask your parents, your uncles and aunts, your grandparents and grandmothers, how did life work before plastic came to our lives? And there you'll find a lot of answers of how you can start consuming things and start generating less trash. These are just 3 very small things. With utensils like forks and spoons and knives, I wouldn't even tell you to go and buy these pretty ones that they sell you. They're made of like bamboo and wood and all of that. In my experience, the knife won't cut and the spoon is like very flat, so it's not very good to use. What can I do? Grab a pack of utensils from your home. Yes, you can have like a small bag for utensils or something, but use the metal ones. You don't need to buy more things. You need to use whatever things that you already have. A reusable bottle, don't need to go today to buy more things. I'm pretty sure you have one at home. Wash it first, of course, because it's going to be full of dirt, certainly, and then you can use it. And that's the idea, to start using things that have longer lifespans. That's the idea, generate less trash. And from the trash that you're obligated to generate because we don't have any other choice, okay, now let's talk about recycling. Let's talk about separating things and actually recycling them. But the idea is to generate less trash, and from the trash that you generate, okay, consider those other options. Is that idea clear? Okay, cool. I'm not actually sure if I'm getting myself to deliver the message, but okay. So these are actually like the solutions that you can start doing. There are a lot of other things out there. A lot of people actually told us like, why you don't talk with the government and make them like just prohibited every single plastic thing? It's not that easy. People's economies sometimes depend on it. Jobs are generated by it. So making that is good, but it's not like the whole solution. We need to actually make our part. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones that are consuming. And a lot of people actually told us that, okay, I consume it because they sell it to me. That's the option. And by some reason, we usually think that that relationship between the consumer and the seller is the one that has control over that relation. And it's not true. You can actually make the stores to start offering different things if you start consuming different things, if you stop buying them. Let's imagine there's a small store. And that small store sells water bottles. If nobody within that community buys those water bottles, is it going to be viable for that store to keep selling them? No. And that's it. That's the most basic idea that we need to understand in order to create change by the way that we consume products. I don't know if there's a question regarding this. It's fairly easy. actually. We just need to understand what's the background of all of it. And that's it. So right now, I just wanted to, okay, yeah, that's the basic idea, to use reusable things. That's the magic word today. It's not recycling. Recycling has become like the most famous of the 3 famous R's. Today, I want to change that. Like the most important R of the 3, it's the reusable one. So that's it. Like, take that. Take that. Now, other than talking about bad things and bad information about what's happening in the ocean, I want to share you that for us, actually, the most important thing is to create this connection. And I wanted to show you that it's not, I mean, we've been doing this for 11 years, and we just recently realized that we were sharing the message in the wrong way, because we were talking about data, statistics, what's happening out there, how many animals are dying, how many plastic are we generating. And yeah, it's important to know that, but at the end of the day, people won't take action if they don't actually care for the place, if you don't care for the ocean. So for us, the main reason that we started this project wasn't because we knew about the data. It's because we have like a very, very close relationship with this place. Me and my friends who started this organization, we already had a relationship with the ocean, a very, very strong connection with this place. So the idea here is to invite you, get closer to it. Give yourselves the experience of getting to know this place. Sometimes when holidays are nearby, like a lot of people think, I want to go to a place with a really cool beach, like transparent water and white sand and all of that. I don't know if here is the same as Mexico, but where do people think here that they want to go on the beach if they want to see something like that? What beach do you want to visit if you're thinking about that thing? Okay, same idea, Cancun. Okay, everybody wants to go to Cancun. And it's not that I have anything against Cancun, but there are a lot of other places in which you can have like a deeper and better connection, and from my experience, a better experience. I don't know if you know, but we have these ideas of, oh yeah, going to the other side of the country, going to the other side of the world, France, Paris, and Italy, and Europe, and all of those things. But I don't know if you know that we have something that people from all around the world are looking every single year to visit. I don't know if you know that people from every single corner of the planet comes to see every single year. And we, the locals, we don't know about it. It's called Mar de Cortés. It's called the Baja Peninsula. It's one of the places with more life that you can imagine in the world. We have one of the most abundant places in the whole world talking about marine life. We can sometimes see these photos and see like, oh, that can be, I don't know, the other side of the planet, in a very pristine and exotic place. This is in Baja California. This is around your corner. This is your backyard, and we don't even know it. So the next time that you're planning to make a holiday trip, I don't know, with your family, I would like to invite you to consider the next thing. Go to Google Maps and look how far it is a place called Bahía de San Luis Gonzaga. Bahía de San Luis Gonzaga is one of the most chilling places that I've ever seen in my life. Like for real, you're in the middle of nowhere. If you want to camp, you can camp. If you want to be at let's say a hotel room, you can have a hotel room with its commodities. If you want a cabin, you can have a cabin. It's an incredible place. Oh, no internet. You can buy codes for 15 minutes of internet, but I mean, being there, believe me, you won't be looking for internet. You have a beach for yourself, your whole family. It's an amazing place. It's a rest place. But if you're going to start getting like more exciting experiences, drive a little bit to the south, a couple of hours more, and you'll find a place called Bahía de Los Ángeles. Does somebody here has ever thought about the idea of swimming with sea lions, seeing whales, swimming with turtles? Raise your hand. Who would like to live those types of experiences? I know it's not a thing for everybody. Okay, in the back, yeah, here, right there. If you ever want to swim with sea lions for the first time, I would recommend you, like, massively consider Bahia de Los Angeles. It's the best place to do this. The very first time I got to swim with sea lions, it was there. For me, the experience was that I went there, and the difference between these places and places like Cancun, let's say, is that in Cancun, everything is very produced. It's very produced tourism. You'll get to a boat with another 50 people, with music, with beer, and you'll see the whale at 50 meters or 100 meters from where you are, and that's it. Like, people don't actually are there because they want to connect with nature. They're there because of the party. So, I mean, every place with its purpose, right? But if you actually want to connect with nature, go to the Baja. Go to Bahia de Los Angeles. There, you're going to go to the ocean with locals, with the fishery, with fishermen that actually know the place, and they take care of the place. So the very first time I went there, I got with this fisherman. He took me to see the dolphins and see the seabirds and see all of that. And then we get to a place called Calavera Island. It's not the prettiest name, but it's called like that because the rock has the form of a skull. And by some reason, the sea lions like to be there. So I went there, and this guy was like, okay, so the only rule is that you get into the water, you don't get close to them, you need to get close to you. And that's it. So I get into the water, and I start seeing like the fins of the sea lions at the back. And I was like, they're just chilling, hoping and waiting for something to happen. And indeed, it happened. Whenever at the very least moment that I thought a very huge, like enormous sea lion get into my side view, and I was impressed by the difference that we usually get to see sea lions inland, and we saw them like really big and kind of clumsy, and here you're at in their home. So the guy looked amazing, and in the short story, it's basically, I don't know why exactly in that moment, but this guy came close to me. He tried to bite me. So at that moment, like my experience wasn't like the best. He tried to bite me twice, actually. So the experience wasn't the best. Afterwards, I knew why that happened. Don't ever get into the ocean in mating season because they get very protective of their females. So that was the idea. I was there in the wrong moment. But other than that, if you go in the correct time, you can get to swim with these guys, and they're very playful. They're like dogs from the water. They play with you. They swim around you. They're the best experience you can ever have. But in that moment, I was kind of afraid. The people that was in the water with me, they got out of the water. And after that, the idea was we were going to see the whale shark. I don't know if you know what a whale shark is. It's the biggest fish in the world. So Bahia de Los Angeles is known to be the sanctuary of the whale sharks. So around September, you can get into the water and you can spot like around 50, 60 whale sharks in the same place. So it's incredible. It's something amazing. But right there, I was kind of afraid because of what just happened with the sea lion. But nonetheless, I got into the water with the whale shark, and believe me, it's one of the most calming experiences that I've ever had. It's very impressive to have such a big animal in front of you, but at the same time, it was very calmly. I don't know if you know, but the whale shark is one of, if not the most calm animal of the ocean. Like, the guy is just there, like floating. And if something gets in their way, they'll just move, and that's it. So they're very, very calm. And that calm, it's transmitted to you. So for me, that was one of the best experiences. One of my biggest dreams was to swim with whales. And at that moment, I had the opportunity to swim, I don't know how many minutes. Being down there, like, time just simply wasn't in my mind. I don't know how much time I was down there, but believe me, guys, these are experiences that I encourage every single person to have. It's something very different from what we are used to do, but it's very enriching. And when the years go by, you'll remember it, and you'll know that it's something that you wanted to live, and that you'll be grateful to live. And that's just the start of the Baja Peninsula. If you continue your road, you'll get to a place called Guerrero Negro that's known to be the sanctuary of the gray whale. Then you'll go back to the Mar de Cortés, to a place called Mulegé, which has amazing beaches, incredible beaches. And then you'll get to a place that I know that everybody here has heard of, called La Paz. It's a very beautiful city with a very beautiful beach. Again, an amazing opportunity to get in contact with marine life. And then you have this place called Los Cabos. Now, I know everybody here has heard about Los Cabos, but when you talk about Los Cabos, we usually think about two places, San Jose del Cabo and Cabo San Lucas. Now, for me, those aren't my favorite places. There's a third Cabo, though, that we usually don't know. It's called a place called Cabo Pulmo. Now, I would recommend you to look for that place. This picture was taken in Cabo Pulmo. Cabo Pulmo is one of the places with most abundance of life in the whole world. And it's a very, very tiny population in which you need to go through 8 kilometers of, how do you say terracería? Dirt road. The same locals as the government not to put asphalt on that street because they wanted for people to actually, it was like a filter. So people that actually know how to appreciate this place and take care of, they're going to be willing to go through those 8 kilometers of dirt road in order to be there. So with that, you take out of the equation the people that would go and leave their trash, don't respect nature, et cetera, et cetera. But for real, look for Cabo Pulmo. And it's one of the most incredible places I've ever been. You don't have like, what is it to be in the beach and just in the least expected moment, you have a turtle at your side swimming with you. To have a group of mantas swimming below you, listening to the singing of whales at a distance. It's an amazing place, guys. It's an amazing place, and it's here in the Baja Peninsula. You have it here around the corner. And we always are like dreaming of going to, I don't know, whatever other places we have. And we have an amazing place to visit here around the corner. It's cheaper, it's closer, and it's better. So, for real, if you want to keep something out of this kind of very long talk, it's been getting longer. But yeah, keep this. Visit Baja California, visit the Baja Peninsula. And believe me, you're going to have a very different experience of your life. To close this talk, I just wanted to present you to my two friends. These are Orlando and Osmar. These are the two friends with whom I started this organization 11 years ago. We started this here in Tijuana. This is our beach, Tijuana. It's a beach that it's not precisely famous to be the most beautiful beach or the cleanest beach. It's actually known for being a beach that is divided for a wall, the international wall. A lot of people come here because they don't believe that there's a beach divided by a wall. And yeah, that's its attractiveness. But for me, I love this beach because here's where I actually love to love the ocean. Here is where this project started, and the name of Kilometro 1 actually born out of that. The fact that we are in the first kilometer of the Mexican Republic, and here's where the project was born. The project started just because we wanted a cleaner beach. We started doing beach cleanups with no budget, with no team, with no idea of what we were doing. We just wanted to do a beach cleanup when we were 18 years old. With time, we made this first. There was the very first post that Kilometro 1 did, and I want you to see at the date, June 18th, 2012. Why is it that I share this? Because a lot of times, students, people that want to start their own projects, what happened? Okay, so people that want to start their own projects ask us about how was the process of Kilometro 1? How was it that you keep on track? I don't know what's happening. So the idea is that one. Okay, that's it. So the idea is that one day we were at the beach. We saw the vast amount of trash that was there. We saw a person playing with two kids being in the water, and the water brought a plastic bag with it, and this person had the plastic bag in its leg. What do you think this person did with the plastic bag? He just took it and threw it away. Naturally, the water current took it back and took it inside the ocean. So with the, I don't know how to say it, but we just like went inside the water, took the bag, and by some reason we started picking up trash. We found another bag and we started picking more trash. We found a box and we started picking more trash. And by the end of probably what was about 2 hours, we picked up all of this. And with the angriness we can say that we have, we posted on social media. Facebook at that moment was like the best social media. And do you think that anybody like actually give us attention about this? No. So what was the strategy? Let's start a Facebook page of an organization that would look like it was an international organization with a lot of people working towards this issue. So we started the Kilometro1 page, and we made this post. And basically what it says is that in a night effort, on a Monday night, we just start picking this, and in a matter of 2 hours, there's a lot of trash, and a date is not the most populated date for a beach. And so we posted, and we have 2 beautiful likes of those aunties that live at the other side of the country that you don't even know. I always text you messages and you don't know who they are. But well, that's how we started. And after that, we found ourselves doing environmental education. We started working with schools. I want you to see the date, December 7th, 2013. More than a year after we started doing the beach cleanup. So we found ourselves with what was going to be like the main activity of Kilometro1. This is what we are doing right now. Teaching you about the impacts of plastic pollution, of climate change in the ocean, and what are the things that we can actually do to stop this issue from growing. Now, I know this talk hasn't been like the easiest to hear, considering that my English isn't perfect, and I'm actually practicing. We could have done this talk in Spanish, but I didn't want to. I needed to practice, so thank you for bearing with me throughout the whole conference. So this is how the environmental education program started. And these are kids that, these are a couple of kids that we knew at a school near the beach, probably around 20 or 30 minutes from the beach. And we knew that these kids that had never visited the beach. They never knew the ocean personally. So this for us was like a mission that Kilometro1 grasped as a very personal mission to help kids to actually get to know the ocean. In 2014, we were nominated to the Municipal Youth Award, let's say. We got the opportunity to win that because of the work that we were doing. That same year, we participated for the State Youth Award, and we actually got it. And I mean, this is not like to show off or anything. This is actually, I'm going to tell you what is the purpose of me showing you this. This actually gave us like energy to continue pursuing what we were doing. And at the beginning, when we were 18, like a lot of schools didn't actually open the doors for us because we were 18. Like you're not going to give your class to it, and a couple of 18-year-old guys that want to talk about plastic pollution. So we struggled a lot with that part. And we had to go to the schools where we studied and talk with the teachers that actually gave classes to us and with whom we have a good relationship to do this. But after a few years, we started working with universities. We started working with companies. We started going to our very first congresses. This is Tibu, by the way. He's our mascot or something like that. He was the happiest that day. And in 2016, we had our first national award. This was the Semarnat's, it's called the Premio al Mérito Ecológico. It's the biggest award that an organization can receive nationally, speaking of environmental things. And we didn't actually won the award. We had something called the honorific mention. It is more like the 3rd place. But what was a very, very cool thing about this is that the organizations that won the 1st and 2nd place were organizations that had worked for more than 25 years. We had 4 years of work right here. So for us, it was like a good sign that we were doing things right. And we kept on working. A very good collaboration born out of this award with Pro Natura, who was the organization that won the prize. or the award. We had a project called Baja Libre de Plásticos, in which every summer we traveled to these communities of the Baja Peninsula to actually showcase this problem with their population. We made beaches cleanup in Bahia de Los Angeles when we found illegal nets, fishing nets, and it was a really eye-opening for the community and the authorities, because they weren't taking care of the place as they had to. After that, why I wanted to show you about the awards. Because yes, I would like to encourage you that if you have like an idea, something that bothers you within your community or something out there, take your chances with your projects. Like a lot of times we have been taught to go to a certain route, like go study, have a degree, and do this and that and that and that. But what is it that we want to do? What about your personal missions, your personal goals? What about your personal things that you want to see different out there? For us, Kilometro 1 was a challenge because we wanted to see a different situation within the Tijuana beach. But a lot of people told us that we needed to find a real job, that a lot of comments were there. Teachers that didn't support the project, people that told us, what makes you think they're going to change things? What makes you think they're going to achieve something? Like, look for a real job and stop dreaming about things. And one day, these prizes came, these awards came, and the awards are good, yeah. They'll give credibility to the organization and to your work, but at the end of the day, an award doesn't mean that much, because the award doesn't actually say that you're changing things. It's a recognition because you're putting the time, you're putting the effort, but it's not actually something that says that you'll change things. These types of experiences are the ones that we would like to actually look for. For us, we were used to work with fourth graders and above. Smaller kids have a very different language that we didn't dominate it by the moment. And we went to this school and to talk with fourth graders, and being there, the school told us like the kids were out of the school, but they had a third grade group that we wanted to work with them or not. And those are the moments in which certain, let's say, obstacles or challenges will present within your process of having an organization or having a personal project. And there's when you have to ask, are you going to take on the challenge or are you going to reject it? So for us, we took the challenge. We were kind of nervous. I don't know, how do you guys think we did with the third graders? A lot of optimistic people usually tell us like, oh, you did great. No. Kids were running, kids were screaming, kids were closing the laptop, moving the projector. It was a mess. The whole presentation was a mess. And for us, we thought that we didn't connect with the kids. We thought that the message wasn't delivered to them. So we went to the courtyard and we take the picture, a group picture that we always take and that we probably are going to take with you. So yeah, you can brush your hair or something. And after that, the kids went back to their classroom. We stayed there talking with the teacher. And in the least expected moment, I saw every single kid running outside their classroom. And I thought it was like the time for their parents to come to get them to home. The thing was that the exit was on that way and the kids were running on this way. So the kids started screaming. It started like making like a big group, pulling my shirt, like screaming, throwing things at me, something like that. And I was like, okay, I need to ask for help to my friend Orlando. And he was in the same situation with a kid climbing on his back. And it was a whole mess. A kid was climbing on his leg and it was a whole thing. Whenever, at the least moment that we thought, we started seeing like small notebooks, crayons, pencils, pieces of paper. And at a certain moment, we realized that these kids were asking for our autographs, which for us was something extremely weird because nothing was done at this point. We didn't have any awards. We didn't have any trajectory. We didn't have anything. But you realize that for these kids, they told us, you're actually like their hero. They're saving their friends from the ocean. because kids have this idea in their mind. They still see the planet as their like a garden, I don't know, like a playland, and they see the animals as their friends. And something happens with the years and with age that we stop perceiving nature like this. So this is something that I like to highlight in these conferences, because it's something that we need to get back in our lives. Don't forget about nature. Don't consider that it's not cool anymore to take care about nature, because we need this place. We need to take care of this place, and we need to share that knowledge and that enthusiasm for nature with the future generations. When we started this project, I never imagined I would dedicate myself to give these environmental talks to groups. I've never imagined that I would give a conference in English, to be honest. When I started this project, I never imagined that I would get autographs to kids. I would never imagine that. Actually, one of the kids gave us this drawing that for us, all of the awards are archived and they're saved, but this drawing for us is like the best award that we have received. And it's framed and it's in my house, and it's one of the most precious things that we have as Kilometro1. But we never imagined that Kilometro1 would be part of the plastic bag ban in Tijuana. When we started this project, we never imagined that Kilometro1 would be present in the UN offices in Mexico, sharing this conference with UN ambassadors. And at this moment, you see my friends in that picture, and I'm here, and they're not here with me because after several months of collaboration, UN actually approached to my friend Osmar, and after certain talks, he right now is working as an environmental ambassador for the UN. He's in Mexico City, working directly there, and he's still part of this project. But that has been something very important and very good for his career as an environmentalist. A lot of people ask us, like, what did you study? I studied marketing. I knew Orlando studied marketing in university, and my friend Osmar is an accountant. We didn't thought that we were going to dedicate our lives to this. After that, I didn't imagine that my friend Orlando was going to be selected as one of the 15 youth leaders for the ocean globally, and that he would go to different summits of ocean conservation in different parts of the world. A few months ago, he was in Palau. Where is that? I don't know, but it's a country. We didn't imagine that those kids that didn't knew the ocean we would actually be the ones that could make them that gift of knowing the ocean. And we would start doing this campaign of taking care of kids that their dream is to know the ocean, and we'll take them there. When we started this project, I would never imagine that because of this, I would find one of my most passionate hobbies, that right now it's my profession, that is photography. We used to take photos at the beach cleanups and the activities because we needed to report in social media what we were doing. But the day that somebody came and told me, thank you for the picture, I had years without making a picture with my wife. Okay, cool. Somebody else came to me and asked him, thank you for the picture. I love the ocean, and it's been a long time since I have a memory of the ocean. Photography started taking a whole different meaning for me. And after that, I started to, need to hurry up. I started to use photography to approach people to the ocean. I started traveling to the most pristine places on the Baja Peninsula and started photographing the ocean from where I could. And a dream started to develop in which I wanted to dedicate myself to marine photography, photographing submarine photography, making photos of animals and all of that. A couple of years ago, I made a Baja trip. I drove throughout all the Baja Peninsula, and that dream came true, where I had the opportunity to picture my very first animals. And yeah, that was a sea lion in Bahia de Los Angeles, and if you're wondering, yeah, that was the sea lion that tried to bite me. So I have a return out of that experience. That was my very first photography or photo of a marine animal. Other than that, there was another sea lion that got out of the water in Tijuana. There's a whole story out of that picture that I'm not going to get into it because we need to wrap up this whole talk. And this was taken in La Paz. I am very, I like to encourage people to actually don't make less the smaller animals. like the ones we saw in the photo of the coral reef, there's magic in every single animal, no matter his size. So for me, I had a great experience with a group of fishes, very small fishes like this one. And after a great experience, I had to keep this amazing memory for myself. So after 11 years, we didn't imagine that a group of friends that just wanted to clean the beach today was going to be a community that is spread throughout all the Mexican country, that we had started to make collaborations with schools and other companies here in the United States, that we would start finding the next generation of ocean leaders. Because, I mean, I know I'm not old, but I'm not the 18-year-old guy that I was 11 years ago. So we knew that Kilometro1 was going to be a youth organization for young ones. So finding the next generation of ocean leaders was something important for us. And just to close, I told you about my friend Losmar, why he isn't here right now. He's working with the UN as an environmental ambassador for the UNEP, is the United Nations Environmental Program. But what about my friend Orlando? For a lot of time, we heard these comments about we not achieving anything with this project. We not making any changes. We not actually making something out of it. Well, my friend Orlando is not here right now because right now he's living one of his biggest dreams because of this project. He's studying his master's in one of the best universities in the world, that is Oxford. Thanks for this project. Right now, I'm very proud of sharing these things about my friends and to share you the whole story of what Kilometro1 is. And again, it's not a show-off thing. It's to actually show you and encourage you to start your own projects, to pursue your own goals. It's hard, yeah, but it's worth it. Every single day that you dedicate your life to what you love, believe me, it's worth it. Today, I had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to cross the border to come all the way here to Calexico. Last night, I had to go to bed like probably around 12 and midnight. So it wasn't like the best sleep, but believe me, when you're doing what you love, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So guys, find what you love, dedicate your life to it. Thank you for bearing with me throughout this whole conference. I know it's been long. I know my English ain't perfect, but thank you very much for your attention. I just want to leave you with this phrase that it's what resumes the story of Kilometro1. It is, don't wait until somebody takes that first step. They might never do it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, for your attention.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are very, very happy to have had you present this incredibly valuable information. Listen, we are going to make some adjustments to your lunchtime, so, okay? Yes, we will go until 12:30, okay? We're going to let the junior high volleyball girls team